I've not long stumbled across this video from Bas Rutten, and he was very briefly talking about his carnivore diet in this very short video he made. I think it was up yesterday. And so I'm not sure whether he has gone carnivore, whether he's trialing carnivore for a period of time. I'm not too sure. If anybody doesn't know who this is, he is a legendary fighter. He won the King of Pancrase title 3 times and was actually entered into the UFC Hall of Fame after just 2 fights. So very impressive stuff.
I don't have my shirt up for the camera. I just came outside, mowed the lawn, some sweating, doing my carnivore diet. Look at this. And I got some eggs on top of it. So protein. It will change your life. It's amazing.
Fat as well is equally as important. So that's why when you crack open an egg, you got the fat, you got the protein, and he's doing fine there by the looks of things.
Like 2 weeks in, I was like, oh, this is obviously doing something.
What was the carnivore diet like for you? Because you mentioned earlier, I think that you did it for like 3 or 4 months straight.
I have psoriasis. I've had psoriasis. And we talked about it last time on the podcast. And
this is also another MMA fighter. His name is Chad Mendez, and he obviously goes carnivore to try and ameliorate his psoriasis and symptoms related to that.
It's been something I've struggled with my whole life. There it is. So super dry, super itchy, cracks, it bleeds. And I've struggled with this my whole life. You know, I've taken different medications, you know, like basically over the counter, like creams or even prescription type creams. And it's never been anything that's like really taken it away. And what is this I'm putting on myself? Like, I don't even know.
Right.
Yeah. So many of these creams and stuff, they have all these toxic ingredients, and these are just simply trying to address your symptoms. They never really cure the problem. They don't address and sort out the problem.
Is there something that I'm eating that's screwing up my gut, that's inflaming this?
That's awesome that he realizes that the gut is what's affecting autoimmunity in people that suffer with autoimmune diseases. So you want to fix your leaky gut, essentially.
So I jumped right in, and basically a before and after of being on the diet. And I don't know if you can see it. I think it's on this one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's already like 2 weeks, I think is what I said on there. I can't remember, but it wasn't very long into it.
14 days. That's incredible.
It's a huge difference, though. I mean,
it's incredible, the difference. I mean, it looks like after 2 weeks, it looks like it's gone.
Yeah. And I felt really good. You know, the first week I felt crappy. I think they call it the keto flu is what
Again, this is why people don't want to transition too quickly, because you don't have to go through some of these experiences with, you know, the keto flu, feeling a little bit run down, perhaps you're lacking energy, all this kind of stuff, electrolyte problems, leg cramps.
Not crappy. You just feel, for me, I just felt unmotivated. I just felt lazy and tired.
So right here, you're saying it's 3 months into the diet.
Yeah.
Fucking hands are so fast.
That was right.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, man, I was feeling good. Like I said, I was lean, felt light and fast. And
yeah, watch this.
Jesus.
I also felt super light and fast. I often say I just feel light navigating the world now, which is true. Like everything I did always was so hard. I felt like this huge rucksack was on my back with all the weight of the world on my shoulders, and that just kind of lifted after 3 weeks for me.
How long have you been doing carnivore for?
I actually started experimenting with it in my last training camp.
Another MMA fighter, this is Michael Chandler.
I was doing a lot of avocado bone marrow. I was getting bone marrow from this place down in Florida, and then liver. So I was trying to do liver like once a week.
Almost like keto.
Once a week is not a bad idea. I wouldn't want to have liver every day. You know, it's way too high in copper. It's not necessary. It's not really realistic to be consuming so much liver in comparison to the muscle meat. You've got to think about how large, say, an elk is, or buffalo or cow, and how much liver is there in comparison to the muscle flesh and the associated fats. So you don't need to be consuming so much liver all the time.
Yeah, right? Because you're doing high fat, it's more keto.
Because I was coming off of eating some carbs going into training camp. Once I switched my body over to burning mainly fat, then I was doing mainly fat, very little carbs whatsoever.
And how'd you feel?
I felt great, honestly.
And now you're trying carnivore before you go into camp, see if it's flat.
Right, so for me, I'm doing mainly meat and fats.
I just remember switching away from carbs and feeling really liberated. Like I wasn't thinking about food as much. I'm able to eat once a day.
So true. I've even described the carnivore diet as liberating rather than being restricting, you know. Looks and sounds restricting at first, but for me, if I'm no longer depressed and I've got more confidence, I'm able to get out there, have a lot of energy and achieve a lot in the day and not feel down about life and myself. that's liberating. It's not restricting, you know.
And feel really good. Carbs make me lazy. Maybe it's because there's
crash.
Yeah, it's the crash, but also just psychologically, it forces me to also think about food too much.
Because it's an addictive substance, you know. If I was to eat sugar, I'm sure that constantly I'll be thinking about my next fix, the next fix. When you eat fat and protein to satiety, you can just move on and get on with your life and achieve things that you want to do in your day, and, you know, set yourself goals, and you're more productive, right? You're not just thinking about food and controlled by food all the time.
But the diet, carnivore diet, is very interesting because a few years ago I went to Africa in Masai Mara.
This is George St. Pierre, an excellent fighter, probably one of the best of all time.
It's a tribe in East Africa, and I went to visit them, and I talked to them. And these guys, their diet is 99% carnivore. That's crazy. And you should see, they're very beautiful people, like shredded.
Yeah.
Some people would say, oh, it's genetic. I'm like, yeah, maybe it's genetic, but I mean, and think about the Eskimos also, that like most of their diet is on fish, right? Yeah. So I believe it can be done, you know?
Oh, it can be done, all right. Yeah, it's the ideal diet for humans. All this plant material, most of it's just man-made. They're all inventions. They're all modified and extra big, extra sweet, extra colourful, very high in carb content, you know, all the sugar. The plants that we used to gather don't even closely resemble the stuff that we eat today.
Like, I believe it can be done like an exclusive carnivore diet. And I think I'm going to try it pretty soon, just to have the experience, you know, to see how it feels like.
Smart. You know, try it before you knock it. Try it to see how you feel, and then perhaps, you know, deviate or introduce some other things back in and figure out what works best for you. But really, all human beings should be on a meat-centric diet at the very least.
You're going to hang out with Joe. Be careful bringing it up, because he'll convince you to forever switch to carnivore. Definitely. He loves it.
Yeah, he doesn't stay on carnivore. He only goes carnivore for 1 month, which is a shame, but there you go.
I mean, but just like you, I think he loves food. So he can't ever...
I would say that they're addicted to substances in food. I think food is, by definition, substrate that is compatible with human anatomy and biology, offering complete nourishment without inflaming cells and tissues and organs and all this kind of stuff. Plants don't meet that criteria. It's as simple as that.
Stay on carnivore. It was funny because we went to an Italian restaurant together, and I still only eat meat. Like, I love the constraints of discipline. That's partially why I like carnivore. I like saying no to food that is delicious.
Honestly, there's something to this, and I totally agree. That in itself is liberating. If you give in to these little treats, these colourful processed treats, or just what you think is a healthy carbohydrate, which is just sugar, you regret it. You know, you berate yourself afterwards. But no matter how hard it is, if you just stick with it and see each day out, you never regret that. You always feel like you're on top, like you controlled your addiction or your habits, the habits that you know are bad and you're trying to kick.
So carnivore, I don't know, who knows who created carnivore, but whatever, and actually what carnivore is.
Cavemen.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like
The oldest diet in the book. I mean, yeah, it's not strange, it's not new. Nobody just recently came up with the idea, maybe if we just eat meat, you know, food that contains all the essential nutrients. I wonder how that would go. Well, if it contains all the essential nutrients, you don't need to consume anything else. It's as simple as that, guys. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.